Welcome, friends, to Just Flow Yoga. Today we're going to be doing a beginner's yoga, so very easy, very gentle. We're going to break down some of the traditional poses that you'll see in a yoga class and just sort of work on getting you familiar with a yoga practice and helping you find some ways that you can incorporate this at home when you feel ready. So we'll take a nice comfortable seat on our mat. You can grab a pillow or a blanket and place it under your sit bones today if that feels good for you. And when you're ready, we'll gently close the eyes. Take your hands, place them on top of the knees. Sit nice and tall, roll the shoulders back and down. Open that chest. Lift the crown of the head, so that's the back of the head. Lift it up towards the sky. Imagine that there's a string going out the top of your head and pulling out down through your sit bones. Being pulled tight, lengthen through that spine. Keeping the back nice and active here. Start to bring awareness to the breath. We're not going to change it at all. We just want to notice how it's feeling today. Take a moment to check in with your body. Are you feeling tension anywhere in the hips, the shoulders, the neck? Maybe somewhere else. And again, we're not trying to change anything at this moment. We're just trying to tune into our body, tune into our breath. Just see where we're at before we begin our practice today. That's going to help us along the way. Very slowly here, we'll start to deepen the breath. So breathing in through the nose, filling the lungs, filling the belly. If you can, exhale through the nose. If not, that's all right. Another big inhale, filling all the way up. And exhale. Continue with the breath this way, and as you're breathing, maybe take a moment here to soften the space between the eyebrows, relax the jaw, really let those shoulders melt toward the earth. Keeping your focus on the breath and eyes still closed here, we're going to add some very gentle movement. So we'll start with some circles of the body. So taking that chest over the knees, circling all the way around. Be mindful here not to let your legs flail up off the mat. Try and keep them rooted. Use those hands on the knees if you need to. Try to keep the sit bones firmly on your mat. Move nice and slow. Stay in control. We'll go the other direction. The bigger the circle, the more movement we're going to create through that low back, through the hips. But this is your practice, so do whatever feels good to you today. And we'll come to center. Sit nice and tall, reset that body. We'll start to take some gentle circles with the nose. So circling it all the way around as we warm up through the neck a little bit here. Take whatever movement feels good. Maybe you like to go halfway around and then the other direction. Maybe you like to do once around and then the other direction. Whatever feels good for you, just making sure that we go both ways. So if you have not switched directions already, I encourage you to do so now. And before we come back to neutral, we're going to drop the chin towards the chest. Really lengthen the spine here. Push those hips down toward the floor. Pull the shoulder blades away from the body. Feel that stretch all the way down the back of the neck. And then as you inhale, we're going to drop the head all the way back. So we're stretching through the front of the neck, the throat here. This is an area that we often neglect, so we're going to just tip the head back. Reset, coming back to center, and we'll drop the right ear to the left shoulder, or right shoulder, pardon me. And then coming all the way across, drop that left ear to the left shoulder. Good. Come back to center. Take a big inhale. Reach those arms up to the sky. Eyes are still closed here. As you exhale, we'll take the left hand to the right knee. Right hand meets the floor behind you. So coming into a gentle twist, and you may notice it feels a little odd to do this with your eyes closed, something that we normally like to see where we're going. But I encourage you to try, especially if you are in the comfort of your own home. There's really nothing to see. Inhale, come back to center, reach the arms all the way up. Exhale, twist to the left, bring the right hand to the left knee. Left hand meets the floor behind you, gazing, well, not gazing, but twisting, so that your chin is trying to meet the left shoulder. Come back to center, inhale, reach those arms up. Exhale as you bring the hands forward, walking them out in front of you, just taking a very soft bend over the legs here. Keep the chest lifted if you can. We'll walk the hands toward the body, bring the hands just behind you a little bit. We're going to switch the legs. Whichever one you've got in front, we'll switch that up. Eyes are still closed. I know it feels a little bit weird. We'll walk the hands forward one more time. So you're going to feel this on the opposite side, probably through either the hamstring or maybe your IT band. That's that big one that runs all the way down the outside of your leg. And then we'll walk the hands back up. Take the hands out behind you. You can open your eyes now. We'll take the feet out in front, just a little wider than hip width apart here. And we're going to let the knees gently fall side to side. So we're just allowing the hip joint to loosen up a little bit here, just getting some nice gentle movement. And then we are going to swing our legs around and come into a tabletop position. So we're coming onto the hands and knees. Hips are stacked over the knees, shoulders are stacked over the wrists. Take a moment here to spread out your fingers a little bit and sort of tent them so the tips of your fingers are down onto the mat, pushing in. Palm of your hand is pushing down towards the mat, and the knuckles are lifted. So almost as if you're trying to grab the mat and pull your fingertips toward your hand. We'll take a nice big inhale. We're going to do some cat-cow motion here, just to warm up the spine. So we're going to inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, lift the tailbone. Exhale as you push through the palms and the knees. Tuck that belly button to the spine and curve through the back. And then we inhale to open up the chest. Slide the shoulders down the back. Lift that tailbone. Exhale, push through the palms, push through the knees, and pull that belly button through the back body. So flowing like this for a few more breaths. You can go at your own pace here. Inhaling to open, exhaling to close. Take a few more. Move nice and slow. Just really start to feel the movement. Is it painful anywhere? Is it tight anywhere? If it's painful, please slow down. Last one. So wherever you are, we'll meet back in table. Take your time. If at any time during this practice as well you need to take a rest, feel free to drop into a child's pose. So just let those hips sink back over top of the ankles and let the forehead come down. You can also come into a downward facing dog. It is a little bit less of a rest pose, especially for beginners. So I recommend child's pose if you really need it. From here, we are going to tuck the toes under, spread those fingers wide, pointing the index fingers to the top, pardon my hair, to the top of your mat. And when you're ready, we're going to push through those palms, let the hips come high, coming into our first downward dog. You can take a moment here to pedal out the feet, and what I mean by that is push one heel down while you bend the opposite knee. So we're just going opposite, straightening one leg as we bend the other. And this is just going to create a little space through the back of the legs. Let's get a little bit of movement. Do not worry here at all about trying to connect heel to floor. Often during our first down dog, I encourage lots of bent leg. So bent knees, pushing that chest toward the floor. And then from there we can start to push the knees out. But again, we're not trying to drop the heels down. We're just trying to focus on finding the shape as best we can. So when that feels good for you, we are going to take a nice big inhale and lift that right leg all the way up to the sky. I'm going to switch directions just so you can see where I'm going to end up. So that right leg is lifted up to the sky. This is what they call three-legged dog. As you exhale, bring that right knee towards your nose. Try and lift your belly button toward the sky. And then we're going to step that right foot between the hands. And then we're going to let that back foot twist so that it is parallel with the short edge of your mat. So the toes are pointing to the long edge. So we're coming into our Warrior Two. Now, in Warrior Two, I like to see heel to heel instead of heel to arch. This is going to create a little extra space through the hips. When you're ready, we're going to inhale, come all the way up to standing. As I come up to standing, I like to take a moment to shift my weight back and forth. Nothing in this practice says that we can't move once we're in a pose. So I like to move around a little bit, get a little more active stretching. So I encourage you to shift that weight back and forth, lift those toes up off the mat. And then when you're ready, we'll sink into our Warrior Two. And so what we're doing here is bringing that knee over top of that right ankle. Heels are lined up. Push that knee, that right knee, towards the back of your mat, so towards your pinky, the pinky edge of your mat. Try to keep those hips squared towards this side of your mat. Then we inhale, reach the arms up in front and behind. Let that knee sink over top of that right ankle. And then we're gazing past the right fingertips. Let those shoulders drop down the back. This is our Warrior Two position. This is very common in most yoga practices, especially in a Vinyasa class. From here, take a moment, check in with that back hand. Often it starts to fall down because it can feel very heavy, so we just want to make sure that we're keeping it raised. If you find this is too much for you, you can absolutely take your hands to heart center. If you're finding that it's just too difficult for the arms, if this is your first time practicing yoga, it's absolutely normal. If not, we keep our arms raised. Typically, in a lot of classes, we'll hold this for a few breaths. We start to feel a little bit of burning through those legs. Enjoy. And then on our next inhale, we're going to go with our left hand to our back leg, reach that right arm up and over the body, open that chest up towards the sky. So try to avoid dumping forward here. Work on opening up. So dropping that right shoulder towards the back body. This is our exalted warrior. And then we're going to come forward, take that right elbow over top of the right knee. Take that left hand either up to the sky or reach it past your body. And this is our humble warrior. So these are just variations of Warrior Two. What I like about these poses is that you can create a little flow here. So as we inhale, we'll come all the way up. Reach that right arm up to the sky, hand lands on the back leg. Exhale as we sweep forward, bring that right elbow to right knee, left arm either straight up or all the way over the body. Inhale to come up, and it's almost as if we're painting the sky with those hands. So get creative here, use your imagination. Exhale, we come forward. Last one, inhale all the way up. Exhale, will come forward. Good. Come all the way back to center. Perfect. We're going to straighten through that right leg here. We're going to come into triangle pose. So this is a pose I find some beginners get a little bit intimidated by it, but it's absolutely not necessary. It's a very simple pose. Both legs are straight here. Take whatever distance you need through your legs. If you're finding this is too far apart, take a moment, reset your feet. There is absolutely no pressure here. Take your time. From here, make sure you're standing nice and tall. We start to push the hips back. Get a little sassy. Push that left hip towards the back of your mat. As you do that, you're naturally going to feel that right shoulder drop towards the front of your mat. As we do that, let that right hand tiptoe its way down the leg. Now you can land it on the shin here. You can even land it on the thigh if that feels more comfortable for you. The only thing I will say about this, do not dump all your weight into this leg, okay? You're not going to like it. So we're going to let that hand land wherever it needs to land. Then that left arm comes all the way up. Okay, so now I'm using my core here to make sure I'm not dumping all my weight into this leg. You take that hand up to the sky. Now with your gaze, you can either look up at the left hand or you can look straight ahead, whatever feels better on your neck. Sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to really crank open like that, so if you're not there yet, that's okay. If you needed to take a bend in this knee as well, that's absolutely normal. Whatever you need. If you have blocks at home, you can also place a block right here. I don't have any with me, so again, use your imagination and grab one if you have one at home. And then we'll inhale, come all the way back up to standing. Really use your core. When we come out of a pose, always use that core. Straightening through that right leg if you haven't already. And now we're going to take those right toes, turn them to face the same way as the left. So both of our feet are now facing the side of our mat. I'm facing you, but for your purposes, you're facing the side of your mat. Adjust your stance if you need to. If you find your feet are really, really wide right here, you can just sort of heel toe them a little bit closer together because it can be a little bit uncomfortable at the beginning, again, if you're a beginner. From here, I want you to focus on pushing the arches of your feet down into the floor. So what I mean is this part here, it's, again, you're having to use your imagination here, but imagine you're trying to squeeze it down. This is going to take pressure off the outside of your feet, which is also going to take pressure off the ankles. That's one thing that I hear the most often from my students is that they start to feel pain up the outside of their ankle in this pose. So if you start to drive the inner arches of your feet down, it's going to take pressure off the ankles. So we'll take a nice big inhale here. Reach those arms up to the sky. Focus on not opening up too much here. Try and tuck that tailbone under just a little bit. And as we exhale, bring the arms down and start to push the hips out toward the back of the mat. So we're trying to sort of balance our weight over the legs here. So as the hips push back, the chest comes forward. You can take books, blocks, pillows, whatever you'd like out in front if you need them here if you can't reach the floor. You can also always keep the hands on the thighs just like we did in our other pose. But again, don't dump all your weight. It's going to hurt your knees. So we bring our hands down to the mat or the floor in front of us, blocks, pillows, whatever you've got going for you today. Again, if you feel the need, you can absolutely bend through those knees. Always take whatever modification you need here. It is very important to listen to your body. I like to keep my back engaged here for the first couple of breaths. So my spine is long. I'm trying to open up my chest a little bit. I basically have a flat back here. And my hands are on the mat. And I can wiggle my toes. So take a moment to see if you can wiggle your toes here. From here, we're going to very slowly start to heel toe the feet together. So your hands are still on the floor here for support or wherever you need them. And then you're going to bring the heels under the hips. Toes are pointing to the corners of our mat. From here, we're going to start to let those hips sink down. Now, this is garland pose. This can be a little bit more difficult, especially for men, or if you're a runner of any kind or a cyclist. The back side of the legs might be a bit on the tight side. So if that is the case, you can take a block under your sit bones here if you need one. You can take a chair. You could try the wall. Or you can come into a more active squat, and this is going to help you get into passive flexibility down the road. So if you're finding that this is as far as you can go, widen your stance a bit. Come into that squat and just stay there. Hold it for a couple of breaths, and then you can come out. If you happen to be flexible already, some people are naturally gifted that way, feel free to come right down into garland. You may be on your toes or you might be right down on your heels, whatever that looks like for you. We bring our hands to prayer if that's available, hands to the floor if you need the balance. I apologize, there are fans above me right now that are like a little mini hurricane, so it's blowing my hair all over the place. We'll take one more breath here. Gently leaning forward, bring those hands to the mat if you are down all the way. If you are in your active squat, then you can wait for us. And then we're going to push the hips all the way up. So we're standing in our forward fold, but the toes are still pointed out. So I'll just take a second here to heel toe them a little bit together so that they are directly under the hips, pointing forward. From here, we're going to halfway lift. Inhale, lift the back, hands to the shins or blocks. Exhale, fold. Inhale, tuck that tailbone under, roll all the way back up. Reach the arms to the sky. Hands down to heart center. Fix the shorts. And from here, we're going to step to the top of our mat. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold, push the hips back, let the chest come down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. We're going to place the hands under the shoulders, so if you need to bend the knees here, that's okay. Inhale, we're going to take a big step back this time with the left foot and then with the right. So we're coming into our high plank. You can drop the knees here if you need to. As we exhale, we shift the weight forward, so just pushing onto the toes. Tuck the elbows toward the rib cage and lower down in chaturanga. Inhale, lift to cobra. So just lifting the chest, push the belly down to the mat. Squeeze the hands. Exhale, downward dog. Awesome work. From here, we're going to inhale, lift that left leg up to the sky. Exhale, step between the hands. Drop that right heel down as we pivot so that it is parallel. That right foot is parallel with the short edge of our mat. Come all the way to standing. From here, as I said before, we're just going to straighten and bend through that left knee. I just like doing this to get a little extra movement. And then we let it settle over top of that left ankle, focusing on pushing that left knee out towards the back side of our mat. Inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky. Gazing past the left fingertips. Take a moment, check in on that back hand if you need to. Drop the shoulders down the back. Holding here for a breath. Feel the heat building in the legs. And when you're ready, we're going to take that right hand to the back leg. Inhale, sweep the left hand up and over. Coming into Exalted Warrior. Exhale, move nice and slow here. Keep control and through the core. Bring that left elbow to land on top of the left knee. Try not to dump all your weight. Reach the right arm up to the sky. Oh, bless me. Sorry. Inhale, engage through the core. Come all the way back up. Bring that right hand to the right leg and left arm goes up to the sky. Exhale, move nice and slow. Left elbow to the left knee. Reach the right arm up. Inhale, come all the way up. Last one. And exhale, bring that left elbow to the left knee. As we inhale this time, coming all the way to standing, you let the arms come down, give them a little shake if you need to. Straighten through that left leg. If you need a bend here, that's okay. So maybe try it straight, and then if that doesn't feel good, you can add a little bit of a bend. Let that right hip bone pop towards the back of your mat. And as you do that, that left shoulder is going to shoot out towards the front. And then we're going to let that left shoulder start to drop towards the left knee, bringing the hand either to thigh, shin, floor, block maybe if you have one. Again, focusing on not dropping all your weight. And keep that core engaged. Reach the right arm up to the sky. Gazing either at the fingertips or you can look straight ahead if that's a bit nicer for your neck. Inhale, engage the core, come all the way back to standing. We're going to turn that left foot to face the long edge of our mat. Take a second, fix your stance. Drive the arches of the feet down here. So we're just sort of, by doing that, we're lifting the outer edges of our feet and taking the stress off of the ankles. Very important. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, pour the chest forward. As we do that, we send the hips back. So keeping that weight balanced, hands high, connect with the floor under the shoulders. Good, take a breath here. And on your inhale, push through the hands, flatten the back. We're going to heel to the feet together. Coming into our active or passive squat, whatever's available to you today. So if you're in an active squat, send those arms out and find the balance. If you're in a passive squat, bring the hips all the way down, either onto your toes or the weight is on the heels. Wherever you can find balance today, bring the hands to heart center. Take a moment. Bring the hands out in front. We're going to push through the feet. Lift those hips up. Bring the feet under the hips so that the toes are pointing forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, tuck that tailbone, slight bend in the knees. Roll all the way up to standing. Fix the shorts if you need to. And reach the arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands come down to heart center. Awesome. Step to the top of your mat. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands come to the shins, flatten the back. Exhale, forward fold. On that inhale, we're going to step either foot, doesn't matter, all the way to the back into our high plank. Lower the knees down and we'll come into a child's pose. Bring the hips back over the ankles or the heels here. You can take your knees wide if that feels better for you. Shift the weight forward. Sorry, not staying there too long. Bring your knees off to one side and we're going to bring the hips down, swing the legs around, and we're coming onto our bum in the center of your mat. From here, we're going to roll down real slow onto our back. So we're going to take our hands behind our thighs, holding on for a little bit of support here, and we're just going to slowly roll all the way down. So we're staying in control here, lower. 1 inch at a time. Very nice. Let the head land, fix the shorts, always fixing the shorts. Bring the knees into the chest, give them space. Straighten the left leg. And then taking the left hand to the outer edge of that right knee, we're going to come into a supine twist. So bringing that right leg across the body. And then take that right arm out behind you, gazing past the right fingertips. Letting that right knee and right shoulder feel heavy. Let them try to find the earth. And then gently roll onto your back. Give the knees a squeeze. Straighten that right leg. Take the right hand outside of your left knee, pull it across the body. Reach the left hand up to the side, gazing past the left fingertips. Good, gently coming across the back. Both knees in for one more squeeze. And then let the legs go long. We're going to come into Shavasana here. Let the feet fall open. Take your arms and just naturally let them fall out by your side. Often class you here, place your hands beside your hips, palms facing up. And so while that is a good practice, I really like to encourage letting your arms fall open where it feels natural. Sometimes when we place them right by the hips, it's difficult and we can feel that pressure, the tugging on our arms to go further out. So big inhale here. And exhale. 2 more like that, breathing in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And this last one, big inhale. Allow any remaining tension to flow out of the breath. Exhale. Just allow yourself a few moments here as you finish your practice. Let the body feel heavy. Feel grounded. Take a moment of gratitude here for carving up this time today for yourself to do a little practice. If this is your first time doing yoga, finding some gratitude for times that you knew. And hands to heart center. Thank you so much for letting me guide your practice